What's up, everyone? It's Books and Looks TV. And so I just got through watching this show called Borders. It's on Tubi. If you watch my channel, you know I love Tubi. And we ain't gonna get into that too much, but I do want to get into this show a bit. So Borders is like this series that showcase these like Black British talent from these like underprivileged areas of London. Pretty much the institution, which is like this private school, they have like a horrible social media incident and they're trying to do like some PR. And so they're like, well, let's get some minorities at the school. Okay. And so boom, they grab some children, very talented children or youth or adolescents, however you want to label them. They grab them from the inner city. All of them have like different runs in life. Some of them ain't too turned up, but of course they're trying to navigate their life in like the inner city, right? So they grab them and they bring them to the school pretty much. They have like a Black chaperone who actually transports them there. And as soon as they get there, everybody's like looking at them. So you could take that two kind of ways. People who are new, they get looked at, but these young Black teenagers, they're kind of more of a spectacle because they're Black and that school doesn't have many Black people. In fact, this school only has a biracial girl who is the daughter of like the dean or whatever. And it has one Black boy who I'm going to talk about later, who's just like at that school. So this is just like probably generations of wealth and prestige, and it gets crazy. They are kind of slowly acclimated to like the racism and the objectification of their Black bodies. I'm going to talk about Leah in particular, and I'm going to try to generally talk about the guys, but I feel like Leah is very important to look at, especially me being like a Black woman, and I like looking at like tropes and like Black women in film. Leah from the start is just like noticing everything around her. Like, of course, the guys are too, but Leah is kind of like internalizing it more, and she's not afraid to express her dissatisfaction or emotion, even though like she's very calm in demeanor and profound. She is like the most outspoken out of the group. And so right from the jump, she notices like this portrait of like the history of the school, and there's this like Black slave British boy who's like in the foreground. And she's like, that's not okay. This shouldn't be here. Even though the school is just like, well, this is our history. You're a guest here and you need to be calm because you want scholarship. And throughout the show, they actually refer to the group of students as scholarships. I think that's interesting because it places the class dimension on the students, and it also like kind of outcasts them and reminds them and just groups them. It's kind of like, instead of saying these Black, British, or Negro pens or whatever have you, we're just going to call them the scholarships, and they're going to be reminded that they are guests to a brief degree. And so anyways, Leah comes into the dorm room and she's happy that she has a biracial roommate, but the biracial roommate is kind of skeptical of her because she has learned to survive those spaces by assimilating as much as she can. And so she doesn't really acknowledge that she's biracial. She kind of just mingles with the girls who are white and just tries to be friends with them and just does everything that like rich white people do, even though she knows she's different. But Leah is like very pro-Black and profound, and she doesn't hide that. She has freeform locks, she has dark skin, she has piercings, and she wears clothes and things that lets people know who she is. And so it's not only disruptive to the school per se, but it's really putting a light on her biracial roommate whose mother, later in the show, they talk about how she passed away. She had a Black mother, and her father is like this rich white man whom later we find out is the dean of the school. And so her father pretty much has been someone who kind of appreciates, I guess you could say, or tolerates Black people, but he doesn't want to give up his white privilege and his proximity to wealth. And he's taught his daughter that in order for them to exist in these spaces, that they have to kind of keep their head down and learn to like maximize the foundation of the school, which is the donors. So anyway, Leah knows nothing of this. She's just happy she has someone who kind of looks like her or someone she feels she can get close to. But Abby is her name. She's like, nah, sis, like, I'm not ready for that conversation. I don't even know the extent of who I am as far as being partially Black. And so as time goes on, Leah and her roommate, they become friends, and Leah teaches her about her hair, and she tells her, you know, you're beautiful. You can wear braids or you can do different things with your hair. But there's like friction where Abby's like, no, just, you know, take my hair down. I don't want to stand out, etc. So time goes on and Leah's just existing in her beauty and her Blackness. And some of the kids at school are making fun of her hair. And Abby becomes frustrated because even though her hair is like a bit different than Leah, she appreciates Leah and she finds those words offensive because she understands that she is partially Black as well. And as time goes on, Leah's character and Abby's character is humanized as women of color in the show. So anyway, the guys in the show happen to deal with a lot of stereotypes, whether it's like, oh, are you a drug dealer because you are like Caribbean descendant, or because you wear these locks, or, you know, just different things. And then there's girls, of course, who want to sleep with them. Even Abby, she wants to experience a Black or Black biracial Caribbean teenager, whatever. She makes a distinction that I can't be with you because you are of a different class, even though we both kind of look alike. And there's white girls who tell like the guys, like, I want to sleep with you, or it's just like this big concentration on the Black male body and especially their genitals. And even though to a degree they seem like they like the compliment or it's not harmful, they do understand that they can't freely be themselves and explore their own sexuality. But back to Leah, she comes across the only Black guy in the school and she's like, I like you. I've been looking at you. We should hook up. Of course, like a lot of times those type of settings, whether it be boarding school, college, whatever, have like a hookup culture. But what's dangerous is that Leah is so fixated on her Blackness that she doesn't vet this only Black guy at the school. It comes off as if she's needy. It kind of hypersexualizes her in the show. And as time goes on, she realizes that he's kind of self-hating. He's just trying to like survive the school as well. And he doesn't agree with her like political ideology. And so she's already slept with him multiple times. And it seems like it's kind of confusing because he's like, oh, you're beautiful, but you're just a fun girl. And he's still very young and he brags about having sex with her and he pretty much slut shames her. And so she feels discouraged because she likes, again, the only Black guy at the school. And she finds out that he isn't very great. And so Leah happens to still be going through different like struggles of being depicted as this angry Black girl with these freeform locks. And the school is always keeping an eye on her because they know she hates the portrait. They know she's anti-establishment, but she does appreciate the safe space that the school has to a degree. And I think that that safe space is her being allowed to explore her education, her being allowed the luxury of learning other things, but unfortunately, her still existing in a very racist society. So I think that the show is really good. When I was watching the show, I was thinking, I bet this show has like a Black writer or producer because it just gives me that vibe because it touched on so many dynamics of like racism, classism, and humanizing and diversifying the characters. And when I looked it up, I was correct. It was like a Black male who I'll probably put his picture and name on the screen because I don't remember it while I'm recording this. I really appreciated it. I was like, oh, I want to watch more like British television now because I like looking at different cultural shows and movies because sometimes it's harder to predict because I don't know their world. But at the same time, you can't like, you can relate to like social issues or you can relate to like heartbreak, etc. So that show explored different elements of like just Black youth trying to survive and be this depiction of Black excellence. So they're kind of like carrying the weight of like institutionalized racism by also being like tokens in this realm. And so I think it's worth watching. It kind of reminded me of like a British Degrassi, except of course, like more privileged and is of course very different in a lot of ways, but just like the drama aspect and kind of giving coming of age. If you saw it, what are your thoughts? And let me know if I missed anything, I guess, even though I was trying not to spoil too much. And thank you so much for listening to Books and Looks TV. I'll see y'all next time.
Miss, we're running over now.
トミーさん、どこに住んでいますか？
名前は何ですか？私の名前、トミー。元気ですか？元気です。そしてあなたはどこに住んでいますか？ Where do you live, Tommy?
Hertfordshire.
私はハートフォードさんに住んでいます。何をするのが楽しいですか？私はサッカー、映画、そして友達との交流が楽しいです。もう行ってもいいですか？
I think we can call it a day.
ありがとう。
Hey, how you doing? Rupert. You guys must be the scholarships. What's your name?
Jaheim.
What?
Jaheim.
Jaheim.
Yes.
So where are you from?
My man said it like he's G-checking me.
What's that? Sorry?
Nothing. London joke, he wouldn't get it.
London.
Yeah.
Nice. Which part?
Lewisham.
Not so sure.
South London.
Oh, like Brixton.
No, not like Brixton.
We had to
no.
go see Stormzy in
Oh,
Brixton.
did you?
Yeah.
You know, that's
yeah,
my cousin.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, so is Skepta and Gigs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Small world.
Uh-huh.
So if you like shows like Sex Education, Everything Now, this will fill your teen British dramedy void. This is available to stream on Tubi, but Tubi acquired it from British Broadcasting Corporation, so don't be put off by Tubi Original. This does not give Tubi because it's really not a Tubi production. The show follows 5 talented, underprivileged Black kids from London who win scholarships to an elite boarding school. The show is super fun. It is a dramedy. There are times where it's a bit more serious and kind of dark, but for the most part, it's fun to watch and very entertaining. Now, the show is about the experiences of these 5 Black kids at a predominantly white institution, and it addresses issues like race, class, sexism, and general coming of age issues, but it does it in a way that's very in touch. It sounds like Gen Z was in the room, right? Like, it's not forced at all. It's very much... I also like how the characters are from different parts of the diaspora. Like, one of them, his family is Nigerian, and then some of the others, their families are like Afro-Caribbean. You see how their backgrounds influence their experiences. And who doesn't love a good ensemble cast? There's 6 episodes. I'm on episode 4. I'm gonna go finish watching it now. Check this out. You won't be disappointed.
This is why you need to watch Borders. Borders is about 5 Black inner city teenagers who are offered scholarships to a prestigious boarding school. The show follows their journeys and how they navigate through school life. In my opinion, the best thing about Borders is the story given to the characters, because it doesn't feel like it's just dominated by gangs and crime. The characters don't feel forced, but also they provide realistic depictions that people in real life will be able to relate to. It's such an easy watch, and before you know it, you're binging it. Must watch, and I'd give it 4 out of 5 stars.
Hi.
Which one of you is Abby?
I am.
I'm Leah. I thought I was the only one.
Only one of what?